participants joining us today for our social media basics training. So welcome everybody. We're going to get started now, and just for everyone's information, we are recording the session. That's just so that we can replay it for people that may have missed the meeting today and the presentation material, and those that want to watch it. So we're going to start the recording now. So welcome everybody. I'm Angie Spesic, the Vice President of Marketing Communications for Crohn's and Colitis Canada. I'm joined here with a number of people from our team. Although I can't see everyone, but maybe you can. So if you can just wave when I say your name. We have Natasha, who's part of the Marcom team. We have Stacy, again, part of the Marketing Communications team. We also have Rosemary, who's going to be doing the training and walking you through the materials tonight. From the Gutsy Walk team, we have Naval, and we also have Rebecca. So we have a lot of people, and obviously a lot of you who are interested in knowing more about social media. Today is the basics, so there might be, for those that are familiar with social media, there might be some topics that you're already familiar with, but we want to start with a foundational kind of overview of social media. And then next week, we hope you can join again. We will be getting into a next level of detail. So it's the advanced training, which will build on what you learned today. And so to get started, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being part of our voice. We are so much stronger having you being part of the conversation, helping manage our social media, and really amplifying the work that we're doing. Social media is a very powerful tool for our community, and we have a very strong set of followers and content that we deliver as Crohn's and Colitis Canada and as Gutsy Walk. So thanks for contributing your time and talent. We're going to get started. We have about an hour. And we're going to leave some time for questions and answers. So I'm going to turn it over to Rosemary now, who's going to take you through the training.
Thanks, Angie. So welcome everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be willing to learn more about social media. So we're going to start off with engaging with our social media and how we can use it effectively. So this is what you're going to learn this evening. You're going to kind of get what gist of social media 101. You're going to learn more about Crohn's and Colitis Canada's accounts and purpose. We'll go over how to create posts, so the basics of creating graphics, using graphics, hashtags and tagging, and shortening links. And we're also going to discuss the best practices of using social media. So our main objective when we're using our social media is to enhance our social media presence in the communication of activities. So we want to put Gutsy Walk out there, which is an activity. So we want to further our understanding of social media through strategy and content development. Our objective is to create a unified voice to strengthen national online communications. We want to establish a framework to generate more noise. We want to encourage people to join, donate, build teams, and get active with the Gutsy Walk. And we really want to support our community and Gutsy Walkers this year, especially because we're virtual this year. So what's the big deal about social media? So it's not a new thing, and it's now more than ever with the pandemic as well, it's become this modern communication. So traditional media has been struggling a bit, but social media continues to grow. For example, our social media continues to grow yearly. We obtain about 1,000 followers per year. The communities, so patient communities, look to social media for support and to find that sense of community. And first impressions are usually built actually on Twitter and Facebook handles. So people actually tend to look at socials first before a website or anything else. So our key platforms that we use. So first and foremost is everybody's love, the Instagram. So there's about 12 million users in Canada who use Instagram. And Instagram is kind of this, it's a more of a visual tool, right? So you're telling stories, but you're using pictures with it. It's a way to share news. You can interact and advocate. You can post photos and videos as well. And you can use hashtags to connect and kind of correlate with other posts. So on our Get Gutsy Instagram account, we have about 7,000 followers. And then there's Twitter. Twitter is more of a conversation with people, and it's always about the latest, you're engaging in the latest trends. And that Twitter has about 6.4 million users in Canada. When using Twitter, you only have a 280 character tweet to use. But with Twitter, you can share news, you can interact and advocate, and you can also post photos and videos. And on our Get Gutsy Twitter, we have about 10,548 followers. And then there's Facebook, and that's another social networking. In Canada, there's about 25 million users. And Facebook is another way of telling stories. And you kind of create your own personal avatar. You can connect and interact. It's a great way to market and advocate, and you can really build a strong community through Facebook. And on our Crohn's and Colitis Canada, we have 27,000 followers. And then LinkedIn is the professional platform. So it's more of a professional way to network. And there's 17 million users in Canada using it. So it's like an online resume, and you can market your skills, you can blog through there, and it's another way of building community. And on our Crohn's and Colitis Canada LinkedIn, we have 4,758 followers, and that almost increases daily. And then YouTube. So YouTube, in Canada, there's 17.6 million users. And through YouTube, you post videos and you share a lot of news from videos, and it's a way of telling stories with videos, and another way of building community. And we have 1.9K subscribers to our YouTube channel on the. So now that we have kind of what we do, let's go into more of social media 101. So a hashtag, which is otherwise known as the pound key. So what is a hashtag, right? So it's a tool for finding specific conversations that's taking place on the specific social media platform. So a great way to think about a hashtag is like a file tab. So when you have a filing system, the hashtag is the index, and the index becomes a theme that is organized on social media with a filter. So you can find the latest hashtag, trending hashtag, by searching through the date or the latest post. And hashtags are a great way to find posts easily. So for example, a hashtag would be the Gutsy Walk. If you wanted to click or search the hashtag on Twitter, you could find everybody who's using the hashtag Gutsy Walk. So some rules of just using a hashtag is you really want to make it memorable. So for example, Gutsy Walk. Make sure it makes sense. It's short and simple. It's not super long. Use it everywhere and be as consistent as possible with it. And some things just to remember is to not use spaces when you're using the hashtag. So you would put Gutsy Walk with no spaces. Don't use the @ symbol. Don't go overboard with too many hashtags, because then the post starts to look messy. And make sure the hashtag is relatable in context. So don't, if you're putting a hashtag about Gutsy Walk, don't say, and I don't know, like playing a game or something. Don't put relative hashtags, and make sure that they work, that you can actually click on them and that people can find the hashtag. So examples. So for example, on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, it's suggested to use about 2 to 3 hashtags. And you can kind of just blend them in your post. So see how we have hashtag why we walk, and then we talk about this specific reason why we walk, and we have the hashtag IBD. And then for Instagram, you can use 30 hashtags without getting locked out. So what we tend to do is we do our copy, and then we do 3 dots and 30 relevant hashtags. So it looks kind of cleaner. So when someone's actually scrolling through on Instagram, they don't see the hashtags, but it's in the filing system. When you click on any of those hashtags, you can find it. And little note for you guys, or a little tip, is if you just want to put a note in your phone for the commonly used hashtags that you use, you can do that, and it'll sometimes help when you're posting. And on Twitter, there's always the trending hashtags, and that's updated daily. So our goal is to get hashtag Gutsy Walk trending. So we can only do that with your help and with our community. So we're hoping to do that this year. Okay, and now we move on to tagging. So tagging is basically using the @ symbol to basically tag other either organizations, companies, or people. So try to, whenever you're posting, to tag @GetGutsy. So when you're using Twitter, you can use the tagging sign to reply or mention someone. On Instagram, you'll use it in the text of your caption, and you can use it anywhere in your caption. And on Facebook, you can tag people from your own profile. And you can also tag people in photos. And it's always using the @ symbol. So here's a few examples of how we hashtag. So on Facebook, we use, for example, join our friends in Saskatchewan, and then we did @music for the gut, and it linked to their Facebook page. For Instagram, we were talking about scholarships, so we tagged AbbVie and Université de Montréal. And then for Twitter, we also tagged AbbVie for our IUD scholarships. Okay, so it's just always making sure you're tagging the relevant people. And then on Instagram, if you want to tag someone who's in your actual photo, all you're doing is when you go to write your caption, you're just clicking tag people, and then you can add in the accounts. So doing your best to tag us on Twitter and Instagram, and the Gutsy Walk as well. You can tag us on Facebook by using our national name. So this year's a national honorary chair, that's her Instagram, Honey and Healing. It will be super helpful for you guys to discover key individuals in your community. So for example, your local honorary chair. So that way, whenever you're doing posts, you can just easily tag them in it, and they can also reshare on their page if they would like to. And we're also very keen on learning if there's any accounts that we should know that you think would be great for national to tweet at as well. So any of your local honorary chairs, just send that to your staff partner, and they'll send it over to us.
Rosemary, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make mention that Ashley, the National Honorary Chair, is on the training tonight. Not to put her on the spot, but a big hello to Ashley. And for those that were looking and saw our e-blasts, there was a lovely message from her that got sent out today on Gutsy Walk. So thank you, Ashley.
Yes, thank you, Ashley, for joining. Yeah, so and then that's her Instagram as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about shortening links. So this is how you can go from in a post to sign up today and then have all this fun little characters to this to a little tiny little link. So what happens is and we're going to talk about that in the next slide of the generators that you can use. They'll curate this kind of link with the HTTPS. You can actually remove that and the link will still work. So that's just a little tip there. So here are some websites or tools that you can use to shorten links. So Bitly is one of them. So bitly.com. There's also Owly. You can use the website Rebrandly or TinyURL. We usually recommend using TinyURL or Bitly, but sometimes what happens is it's not always so user-friendly, or they might lock you out. So you have a few options here with what you need to use when you want to shorten your link. So here's some social language. So Twitter lingo, obviously, because Twitter, you have limited amount of characters. Here are some things that you can use when you want to shorten anything when you're writing your copy. So you could do anything like RT when retweeting, or you can do with the signs. You can use any hashtags, follow Friday, music Monday, modified tweets, anything here that works for you, add it in your tweet and you'll be super hip. And then here's how we post strategically. So for Twitter, the most important thing when you're posting on Twitter is you always want to think that there's going to be a call to action. So making sure that you know what the person reading that tweet you want them to do. So something like register, get ready and register for the Gutsy Walk, anything that's very clear. And because you're super limited with how many characters, try your best not to sacrifice grammar. Just try to make it as clean as possible, and you can use some of those those abbreviations that we showed in the slide before. And again, link shorteners will be super helpful. Always try to mention any relevant people. So if you're saying, have you registered for the Gutsy Walk? It'll be super helpful if you do, have you registered for @GutsyWalk? Retweet relevant content, but make sure you're always fact checking before you retweet anything. So here's an example of how an Instagram bio or Twitter bio can look like. And then these are some very important hashtags that you should always be using. So when you're composing a tweet, there's just some things to think about. So you get 280 characters. Accumulating for a link shortener, you will lose about 23 characters for your link. So that leaves you with 257 characters of your tweet. If you're using a photo or a video, that sometimes helps because you don't lose any characters. So you can kind of multitask there and kill two birds with one stone, literally the Twitter bird. And then if you're also accounting for the hashtag Gutsy Walk uses 10 characters, so you're left with 270. So that's just always something to think about. And if you're ever retweeting something and you want to add a comment, you're only allowed 116 characters. And then Facebook. So one of the most important things on Facebook is to kind of encourage this positive community. And because that's what our community is looking for. They want to see, they want something uplifting. Like they don't want to see very daunting things. So you want to always make sure that you're inspiring and exciting our community. And then always making sure that you're shortening your links. Make sure that it's mobile friendly. And then do your best to engage with users. So if someone's commenting, even if it's just simply liking their comment, that's a great way of showing that we care and we want to see what they're saying to us. It always helps to also put in images in. So for example, here's one of our recent Facebook posts. So we have a picture of Claire, who is from Grey Bruce. And so she shares about what she wants other kids with IBD or that don't have IBD, what she wants them to know about. And we're just kind of a positive post like, thanks, Claire, for all your hard work. And she's looking super fun and she's loving life. So that's kind of like a great way to engage our community and put on this positive, demeanor. For LinkedIn, it's more of a professional environment. So always making sure that you know who your target audience is and who you're talking to. You want to be more professional in this sense, and always making sure that your posts are very up to date, and try your best again to interact with commenters, and always providing a link, which you have the shortener for. And then if you wanted to update your bio to become an all-star, you could have this little blurb about what Crohn's and Colitis Canada is. And then for Instagram, so some good strategies is that you always want to have a URL in your bio. So for example, you'd want www.gutsywalk.ca so that when people, their first point of contact when they come to our Instagram is to go to the Gutsy Walk page. Making sure that your bio is up to date. So we aim to cure Crohn's and colitis and better the lives of everyone impacted by IBD. Always making sure that when you're uploading a photo, that if you are going to do it immediately, make sure that you're taking the photo from your Instagram app. And then if not, you're going to resize it, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Always try to use appealing filters. Don't go overboard. Don't try to make them too orangey. Always making sure that they look really pretty, because the way Instagram is because it's more of a visual. we want to make sure that the pictures pop and that people are intrigued to read the caption after, right? Because people look at the post before the caption. You could have this great caption, and if your picture is not as great, people are going to scroll through. And then always making sure that you use proper hashtags. So again, you get 30 hashtags, so try to keep them relevant. And then another thing to know is to always make sure you're tagging any other relevant accounts. So if you're tagging the honorary chair, make sure you're tagging her in that, or tagging Get Gutsy. And then if you want to post a video, you have the freedom to do so, because Instagram allows for that. And make sure it's about 3 to 15 seconds, because that's basically as much as people will watch before they scroll next. So you want to get your point across. And then you can also, to engage with other people, typically what's recommended is every day you spend about 5 minutes just kind of engaging with what's on your news feed or in your explore page. So you just kind of, you can go scroll through and like and comment. And I mean, you don't have to do that every day if you don't have the time to, but try your best to kind of do it at least every other day. And make sure that while you're doing that you're looking at the actual post you're engaging with. So make sure that what you're engaging with is a good reflection of CCC, and making sure that what you're commenting is uplifting, or you can just even put an emoji, but always making sure that you're looking at what you're engaging with, and make sure that the bio is updated. So timing is everything when you post. So you want to make sure that you're posting right at peak engagement. And the best practice for this is to just use your intuition as well. So, I mean, would you be looking at your social media at 3 a.m? Probably not. So if you're up, don't post at 3 a.m. We won't get a lot of engagement. So you want to just kind of follow, a good guideline. So usually the afternoons are good, and then before people would start work or school, and then after work or school, but then not too late, because then people start to wind down, or they want to spend time with their family, or they're watching TV. So on the note of image sizing, you can't use the same image across different platforms, otherwise it'll turn out grainy. So these are the image sizes we follow. And then you're probably wondering, how am I going to follow these image sizes if I don't have that? Well, don't worry, we have you covered, because you can use Canva. So what is Canva? So www.canva.ca is a graphic design platform used to create media graphics, presentations, posters, documents, and other content. And it has the templates for you to use. So it'll automatically resize to an Instagram photo if you click the Instagram template, and it'll resize to Twitter or whatever you need it to do. And you can also just edit the sizing of the picture when you upload your post or your photo to Canva. So it's a free tool, and you can always make pretty designs. And it also helps you stay consistent, right? Because it will constantly follow this format. So a little bit of how we develop content and how things we want you guys to think about when you're developing your content. So one really important thing is that we're consistent across all platforms and accounts, because we really want to create this unified voice to establish us as Crohn's and Colitis Canada as a trusted leader, or an organization that people actually feel, the information's relevant, and it's even if it's not uplifting, it's informative, and there's so many things that accumulate to that. And that's one of the things, is building that sense of community in order to end isolation. We want to provide that reliable information, not only to show us as that trusted source, but to empower people so that they're starting to understand more, about IBD or about whatever's going on. And of course, we also want to promote events, activities, and educational information. So things like the COVID webinars are a way that we use social media. And obviously the Gutsy Walk is a great way to promote via social media. So some things to think about when you're creating your own content. Great things, okay? You want to interact as much as possible. You want to always reply, if you can, reply to a comment like "thanks for your feedback" or "totally agree with you" or things like that. Be as creative as within the guidelines. Share posts, when people are DMing their stories or commenting their stories, make sure you're resharing them. Again, remembering your audience, and then be as visual and dynamic as possible. And then things we absolutely do not want to do. We don't want to offer any medical advice. We don't put our personal opinions in. No political statements, no room for that there. Please don't use CCC. Use Crohn's and Colitis Canada. And, if you don't have enough character limit on Twitter, just say something like us or we. Just don't use CCC. Don't repost something without fact checking. That's really important. And don't feed into the trolls. You'll get them and you'll get spammers, but just don't feed into it. So getting social. So these are basically the platforms we use that we went over: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And then our Get Gutsy Canada is our English platform, and Aya Ducran is our French. On Facebook, you can find us under Crohn's and Colitis Canada, and in French, Crohn and Colitis Canada. And then again, those are the trending hashtags that we constantly typically use, so you can find us in the filing system. So this is our digital engagement. So many of you might be wondering, what is engagement? So engagement usually is someone who's liked, they've commented, they've reshared our post. And one thing we really typically try to do with our engagement is to create that open conversation about Crohn's and colitis. With our web traffic, we have about 200,000 unique visitors per quarter, about 4 months. And then for social media, as of March 16th, we have just under 50K followers, and that's not including regional social media accounts. And like we said in the beginning, that number continues to grow. So then if you wanted the breakdown, these are the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the total number of people following. So the purpose of using the social media and creating that engagement is that we amplify our impact when doing so. So by using the CCC accounts, we're able to reach a broader broader range of people. And that's how we create more reach, and we create a bigger community. And that's what we really want to do. And then that's an example post. So what's the social plan for Gutsy Walk? Because obviously there's a plan behind that all. So we have set scheduled for posts. So on Saturdays, it'll always be a general post, maybe like a call to action about the Gutsy Walk, fun fact about the Gutsy Walk, anything like that's very general. And then on Wednesdays is our hashtag Why We Walk. So that's a time for people to tell their story, or for us to share any walkers or team stories. We really want to encourage people to share their story. So when you're creating copy, always think to say something like, DM us to share your story, or what are you, this person is doing this, like, are you with them? Things like that, to encourage people to start more of a conversation. We'll be having contests, so those will be shared on Saturdays mostly, and will also be featured on the Gutsy Walk. And we will also be providing you a Gutsy Walk social lead kit of tools to get you started, and that will have the overview of forthcoming posts that you can expect to see, your sponsorship accountability, images and templates for you to work off of, and draft copy for you to customize. So these are some examples. So on Saturday, this would be a general post, your route, your goals, your walk. Join us from anywhere for our Gutsy Walk happening Sunday, June 6th. Sign up today. And then the Wednesday post would be Why We Walk. So this was about Team Triple Boris. So from Heel and Wheel all the way to today, Team Boris has been by our sides. Thank Triple Boris for walking with us at our annual Gutsy Walk since 2007. Read more about why Triple Boris comes back after a year. So that's their call to action, to read about Triple Boris. So these were the top posts from the 2020 Gutsy Walk from our Facebook and Twitter. And I'm going to leave this open for you guys to, so the top post was, today Canadians from coast to coast walk in support of the hashtag IBD community. By walking with us, you help us move closer to finding cures for Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. If you can't make it, but still looking to help, you can make a donation for this incredibly important cause. We received high amount of engagements. And I'm just, I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think made this post give it such high engagement? Do you know if anyone has anything they were thinking about, or yeah, I'll leave that open to you guys if you want. If anyone wants to put it in the chat, I can also read it out, or if they want to unmute themselves. Oh, in the chat. Okay. Short and sweet, relevant hashtags and good message. Yeah, basically, because you know, people they don't want to see these long copy, or not long copy, but they don't want to see long messages, and you know, you want that initial point where people are like intrigued to read more. And then the relevant hashtags, great catch. And then the good messaging. Yeah, so thanks, Hannah, that was great. And then on Instagram, so this was the top post from last year's Gutsy Walk on Instagram. So this is the picture. Are you ready? Tomorrow is the 25th annual Gutsy Walk. Join us for our national opening ceremonies taking place on our Facebook page, and we're just linking people to what's kind of happening in their community. And if anyone would like to share again what they think drove high engagement for this post, please do so right in the chat or unmute yourself, whatever you'd like. Chat. Great. So Ellen says that the bold image. Hannah says that the first sentence is yeah. Okay, so yeah, so Ellen, exactly. The image is bold. There's not a lot of filter on it. I don't even think we used any filter. And it's you know, right away people are interested to read more. Hannah, exactly. The first sentence is eye-catching and the picture is eye-catching. So it's double whammy, right? So, but the picture, they're like intrigued, and then they read the caption and they're like, ah, that's a great, Ellen and Hannah. And exactly, Angie said, are you ready call to action? Yeah, so we're getting people pumped, like, are you ready? And then the caps lock. Exactly, so that's why that posted so well. Thank you for your answers, everybody. Awesome work. So here are some best practices. Now that we've kind of went through everything else. So our social media content should be reinforced on our website. It's an amplification. It's not the main source of our information, right? So on a Twitter, you know, you got questions about vaccine and we have the recommendations. Check out our frequently asked questions, and then we link to our website. So what works? So we kind of talked about why those Gutsy Walk posts did well, and it's a lot of them is that they lead with a question, and so that's how you really engage people, and that's how we relay of a more social messaging, and it becomes that two-way dialogue where we're asking people their opinions, or you know, we're probing them. So this really great one is, do you love cheese? Visit them and let them know you're a supporter, and they'll donate 10% of your bill back. You know, so if there's any cheese lovers, you'd read that right away and be like, oh, I do love cheese. Want a fun opportunity to make a difference? Okay, I'm intrigued to learn more. And then this pop quiz, what kind of tests can be used to help monitor your Crohn's or colitis? So polls, things, questions, those are really great things to use to think about when you're crafting your copy. Some more ideas is, so when you're retweeting and you're commenting on someone, you always want to make sure you're encouraging the other person and you sound uplifting, right? So responding back to Jeffrey, we said amazing and inspiring, and we gave him clappings. You know, our excitement to introduce Ashley for the first time, and you know, more of a somber post of Lisa, who unfortunately passed away from her disease. And you know, so you know, it's still creating like a message where we're still a community, and like we all support Lisa. Okay, so some things you might get some negative comments, and that's okay. And you just have to know when to not answer or when to leave the conversation. And sometimes it helps to just let others step in, because sometimes the community will steer the conversation in a better way. You also might get spammers. So people might, say something about herpes medication or anything. You can just report that as spam. If you have any questions about any type of, like it's a gray area for you, just contact your staff partner and they'll be happy to help you. And then patient questions, which you'll probably get some. Again, just don't offer any medical advice. That medical question should be directed with the patient's doctor or HCP. And don't endorse any treatment if they ask you, oh, should I be using, Humira? Avoid the biases. And then another great way to engage with the patient, so you're not ignoring them or just kind of dismissing them, is to just send their question to learn@crohnsandcolitis.ca, and Learn can sometimes answer their question better. So what types of content can you reshare? Always share Get Gutsy's content and the Gutsy Walk as well. So anything coming from National, just feel free to retweet it. If you're not agreeing, if you don't really want to retweet it, you can kind of put it in your own words. To do that, you just click share, and then you can add your own message. And then again, Twitter is easy. You can just retweet it. If you are posting something on Facebook and you would like it promoted or boosted, speak with your staff partner, and then they can discuss with the marketing and communications team, and then we can go from there. So just a little tip as well on when you're using with the voice that you're using in your tone. Again, we just want to make sure, and I keep driving that point home, that we have a positive and helpful tone rather than kind of like a negative connotation of it. So you would say something like, Samantha is taking on ulcerative colitis. Sounds more positive than Samantha carries on her fight against ulcerative colitis, because it sounds a little more negative. And again, we want to create that uplifting thing where people read that caption and it puts either a smile, maybe not a smile on their face, but it gives them a sense of hope as well. So another really great word too is using the word resilient and powerful. You want to just use empowering verbiage. Okay, so another tip, like the type of content that people like to see, people love stats. So you can kind of just look up, what has the Gutsy Walk done so far, and share those stats. People love stories. Please feel free to share your own, anyone in your community. And then people also love lists, like top 10 lists. So, an example is your favorite memories from, or, TBTs from the Gutsy Walk. People love videos, and they also like polls. So I think polls kind of create that sense of community and getting feedback. And then just a little quick disclaimer, we'll love all the content you create, so don't ever get too nervous about that. But your staff partner may need to alter, adjust, even delete your post if they feel it's necessary. Don't take it personally, just ask them for feedback and see why they had to edit the post or why they deleted it, so you know for next time. Now we leave the fun part for questions. You guys have any questions?
Thanks, Rosemary. We covered a lot of different topics, and I certainly learned a little bit. I'm not an avid social media user, but social media continues to evolve, and it's such a powerful tool. I wanted to make mention that we do have some staff partners on the call today. I think Cindy and Danielle, I don't know if anyone else joined, are here.
I'm here. Oh,
Cindy, you're in Montreal, and Danielle.
yes, I'm in Montreal.
Danielle is in, I think, Calgary.
Hi, Angie. Sorry, I missed that.
No problem. I was just introducing you.
Hi, sorry. I've got my 2-year-old here too as well, so I've got kept myself on mute.
No problem.
I have a question. I have a question, if you don't mind. If we don't have, like for my regional, we don't have an Instagram account for Gutsy Walk at this time. Do you recommend to set up one or not? Because I know that you have a lot of Instagram accounts going on. So I know it was inundated, and last year they recommended not to. So I was just wondering what the recommendation is now.
Yeah, so we're gonna stick with that. And just so the stuff about Instagram was more for any chapters that already have their Instagram, but for now, yeah, we're gonna hold off on creating any more Instagrams. But that's a great question, Cindy. Thank you.
But also, do you like, we don't do a separate Gutsy Walk event like page. We just do the Facebook and we promote Gutsy Walk through my Crohn's and Colitis Canada Montreal Facebook page. Is that recommended, or should I create an event for Gutsy Walk Montreal?
I don't. You don't have to do that. You can just continue to promote it through the Crohn's and Colitis Montreal page. I think
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Should we use? Sorry. So Sharon had a question. Should we use hashtag in our ask letters? You don't have to do that either. No, I'm gonna answer that. No. Good question, Sharon.
I would like to ask a question.
Yes, Bill.
I'm Bill Cummings. I'm with Peel Region in Ontario. I've just learned a tremendous, I have a much better appreciation for social media today than I ever have before, just listening to you, Rosemary, because I must admit, I'm not too bad with Facebook, but Twitter and Instagram, which everybody tells me I should get on Instagram. But the question I have is, when people are reviewing what we're sending out, whether it's coming from your national or whether it's coming from our social team, are they viewing it mostly on a cell phone? Or do they wait till they get home and open up their computer and look on a 26-inch screen, and do they view it there? Or maybe you don't even have these stats, because while I was watching some of your links to advertising or whatever we call it these days, I was having trouble even on my laptop reading some of the words. And if somebody's got a cell phone and they hey, I got an Instagram thing I got to read, they just told me to look at this thing, like they're not going to be able to read it, so they're just going to shut it off, and we're going to count that as somebody who's hit our Instagram account to look at it, but they're not learning anything, unless I'm wrong. Like, for example, there's one that was the ball, the 25th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't read any of the writing on that one. I had to get up really close. I didn't want to scare anybody.
Oh, like, are you saying on the presentation, or?
Yeah, the Instagram notice that went out to everybody with the 25th anniversary. The wording that was on that, I couldn't read. The one with Ashley, the one with Meet Ashley, that was much better font, much better size, and it was readable. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's nice that we're doing all this stuff, but are people actually taking the time to read it? Or if they can't read it on their cell phone, are they gonna, as soon as they get home, are they, see, I honestly.
So this was from a web browser. So usually people don't really look at Instagram on their web. It's a phone app. But yeah, it was just for the purposes of the presentation. But are you saying because the copy is long, or are you saying more so you just can't read it? Like,
the font is too small and it's too light. It doesn't have the sharpness and the brightness that you would need to quickly read it on your cell phone.
I would say, I'm just going to jump in here. So Bill, I think a good tip is, for instance, my mother has trouble with her eyesight reading up close, and she's an Instagram user. And what she has done is, on her cell phone, she has set it to increase the font size of the whole entire phone. So there are some users who have done that, and they've, adjusted the font size on their actual device. But you are right. If folks don't manually override that, then they could have trouble reading the copy. But in that case, I would hope that they would, adjust their phone settings so that they could read all the things on their phone. Does that help a little bit?
I guess so.
Okay.
My biggest thing is that you're spending you can tell by the presentation, there's a tremendous amount of hours spent in trying to get the information out to those people that we want to read it. And I know if I got this on my phone and I got a smartphone, even if I turned it sideways, which increases the font size, I'd have trouble reading it. But I'm the type of a guy, because I'm a really strong supporter of Crohn's and colitis, I would go home and turn it on my big computer and read it. But how many people are going to do that? Maybe us old people, yeah, sure. But the younger ones, it would be nice to make sure that every piece of information your group spends the time to develop, that it can go out in a format that it can be read easily.
Right.
That's all.
It's good. It's a good tip, and it's a reminder to be mindful that many different people are viewing our information. But Bill, to your point of your question initially was, where do people see this content? And the majority are looking at it on their mobile devices. And the reality is that people are looking at their social media accounts and emails all the time. So wherever they are, the phone is usually beside them. And if they're tagged or there's a message that they're tagged on, they're being alerted right away. And the unfortunate reality is people are on all the time now. So devices, and especially now when everyone's at home, there's this like fear of missing out. People want to be in the know, so they're very connected, and the reality is they're with their devices all the time, and the majority of it is on a mobile device, whether it's an iPad, like a phone, an Android or an iPhone. On occasion people will look at it on their desktop, but I would say that that's the exception. Most are doing it now through mobile.
Okay, that answers the question.
And even Hannah made a good point in the chat that she said that on your cell phone you can read it better because it doesn't look the same as it did in the slideshow. It would be a little bit more clear than the actual font through the web, not the web app, the app on your phone.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question. Sorry, Rosemary. If I, on respect to I'm in DC or my volunteers want to work on social media, is there any way to get the social media in advance to know, okay, these are the graphics and these are things that are going to be posted in the next 2 weeks, so we're prepared and we know in advance?
Hi, Cindy, I can answer that. So so we're putting together a package of great materials that we're hoping will help everyone in their efforts to make hashtag Gutsy Walk trend on walk day. We will be sending that out after the advanced training, hoping to get any other feedback at that session a week today, if not everyone signed up. So sign up if you haven't yet. So yeah, once we do that training, we'll send out the materials afterwards, and it will include some basic images that you can pair with whatever post you should write, a variety of those, and then we're going to provide some copy that you can customize for your local area. And we will give a high level schedule of the posts, but as we are figuring out some pieces of Gutsy Walk, like some upcoming promotions and such, we won't be able to give like the full details, but we can at least give a high level update of what will be coming down the pipeline. And we'll do our best to keep it rolling as well too. So after that package, we're hoping to keep you posted on any other new aspects and tools that you can use as we move forward. So yeah.
Thank you, Natasha. That was a great answer.
You're welcome. Good question.
Very helpful. No, I was just wondering more. I mean, all that is fantastic. I'd love, if there was, or maybe next year we'll do more, like a social media calendar that we have in advance, that we know exactly. So whoever is posting on my page, we already have it prepared instead of me only seeing it on, Crohn's and Colitis national page. And from there. So. And
we're working towards that, and I'll keep you posted on everything.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to know. But thank you, and that sounds fantastic.
Thank you, Cindy.
And then just to answer Ellen's question, she asked if it was possible to get the slides as the PDF, and that we will be sharing the slides with everybody after this call. So yes, great question, Ellen. Do we have any other questions? Also, remember, if you can't think of anything on the spot, remember, just your staff partner is always available. We will be always, on the fly answering your questions. So don't feel like you have to know everything right on the spot, or your questions right now. But I'm gonna close that off. Speak now, forever hold your peace. And then we're gonna end off with just well done to all of you guys for your attention. You're ready to fly and be our social media butterflies. We want to thank you for your help and efforts. Honestly, there are not enough slides in this training to express how much we appreciate you and your work and your interest in wanting to help us. We're really fortunate to have you all on our team, so thank you. Oh, oops, our next training, yes. So next week, you will be able to, oh, I see a comment, sorry. I'm just gonna make sure it's not a question. Oh. Our next training will cover, so you're gonna become a pro at content creation, so more so the branding, and we'll talk more about the audience persona, how to post IGTVs, how to create and post Instagram Reels, posting Instagram stories, scheduling posts, more about branding. We're going to share some more fact sheets and when you want to share research posts, and we'll talk a little bit more about sponsorships. And yeah, and then I think that's all we have for you guys.
Is there a way to share when you're sharing talking about stories next time, to share also like how to do like little animated things or make things a little bit more interactive in a story? Is that possible that you could review that next time?
Yeah, so we'll talk more about like how to add music and all those things to your stories.
Great.
Well, thank you, everyone. Maybe test out some of the techniques that you learned today, and then we hope to see you all next week, and bring along your questions once you've gone through some of these things. The material will be shared. I believe tomorrow we'll be sending it out, and this will be available as a recording as well. So thanks everyone for spending your night with us and learning a little bit more about being social.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.